Welcome to Performance on Wheels. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We are going to be checking out the 2020 Honda Accord.
The 2.0 Touring, the top trim level.
This thing has a lot of competitors and it's a very big class, but it's also a dying class. So let's see what Honda came up with to keep this thing alive.
Yeah, comparing it to the Toyota Camry and the Hyundai Sonata, those are probably the top three, in my opinion, in this class.
For sure.
But it's also kind of cluttered with a few other models.
Yeah, there's quite a few. We're going to go ahead and take a peek at those today. We'll run through it and we'll just see what Honda has to offer.
What did Honda have to do to stay relevant as the SUV is taking over the world? How does a sedan stay relevant in 2020?
Let's find out.
For the longest time, Honda and the Accord really didn't know what it was. It's been a sedan, it's been a coupe, it's been a hatchback, it's been a station wagon. The Accord even kind of started the coupe-looking SUV trend, if you remember that. In 2018, we have the 10th generation Accord, which is behind me. Its competitor, the Camry, I would call it its top competitor, was also redesigned approximately the same time. Let's take a peek at the exterior of the Accord in the 2020 model year. Talk about the front end of this car. If you look at it from the side, I get the impression that it means business. It's kind of shoulders back, chest out. It's coming at you, it's muscular. It gives it a nice presence from the front end. I see a lot of design coming from Acura on this, both with kind of the unibrow chrome strip as well as the prism style headlights. The headlights are beautiful in this car, both when they are off and on. When we talk about the safety sense that are standard starting in 2018, for the Honda, we have one radar down here. We also have a handful of cameras that are directly behind your rear view mirror.
Let's start with the wheels when we move to the side. First of all, these things are sweet. They look like they're slicing through the wind as they rotate around going 60, 70 miles an hour down the highway. They're awesome for stock wheels on this top trim level. As we move around to the back, we sort of have a Sportback look to this thing, like the Audi A5 Sportback or the A7. I like that. Nice job, Honda.
On the top Touring trim line that we're looking at today, you can see we got that nice integrated spoiler. We have the chrome facade, dual exhaust, and then we just have the back end. I kind of think this is where the Accord loses me a little bit, and where some of the competition, such as the Camry or the Sonata, definitely would win in the design categories.
As expected in this class, you need a lot of storage for your lot of family. Let's go ahead and check it out. Like, seriously, guys, we can fit an entire grill back here. We got booster seats. We got stuff to go down to the pool. There is plenty of room to get you and your family filled up in suitcases in the back of this thing. And that is bigger than the competitor, the Toyota Camry.
Let's get moving to the inside, guys. We have a nice looking key fob. For a Honda, this is great looking. As you can see here, it says driver 2. It'll save all your settings based on the key fob you have. So without needing to even push a button on the seat, your seat will move into position as you enter the car or start the ignition. As we're making our way towards the inside of the Accord, that key fob is in my pocket or my purse, where it will remain pretty much forever. We don't even have to worry about locking our doors in the Accord, because as we walk away and a certain amount of time goes by, those doors will lock automatically. When it comes to getting in the Accord, I'm simply going to walk towards it and get in. I am a huge fan of the interior and the seats. So because I have that driver 2 package, it threw me back up against the steering wheel, and I'm up against the ceiling here because driver 2 is like 5'6" and I'm 6 feet tall. I am amazed with how low I can get in the Accord. It's one of very few cars where I actually raise myself up from the bottom seating position. I'm going to close the door just so you can see where my head is at and how high I can get, how low I can get with that sitting position. Talking about seats, talking about the inside of the Accord, I am a big fan. It does a really nice job of blending kind of a sport sedan with the luxury sedan as well as the affordable sedan that it is. Guys, the steering wheel is great. It does a nice job of making you feel that you're in the you're sitting behind something that's ready to go and it's fast. The seats have awesome support. All the adjustability is obviously easy. And regardless if you're 5 feet tall or 6.5 feet tall, I think you'll be more than comfortable in the Accord. So guys, we are going to take a greater look at the inside, but right now let's check out that back seat to see how much room we have back there. Let's get in the back seat here. Front seat is where I like it. 6 feet tall, 220. Obviously, we have that sloped roof line with that sport back, so you do have to duck a little to get in. But look at this. This is probably one of the more comfortable seats I've been in. And I've been in the Camry recently. I would say that the sitting positions, you have more options, as well as the comfort level's a little bit higher, in my opinion, in the Accord.
That Todd showed you his big-bodied seating position, I'm going to go ahead and show you the interior qualities and infotainment. Let's go ahead and sit down, and right away I'm going to go ahead and notice that awesome wood trim that is throughout the entire interior. You can see it here on that door, the nice chrome strip that goes all the way up to that door handle. And as soon as I look in a little bit further, I'm going to notice all of my safety features and the main settings of the vehicle right there on the left side. That is actually identical to the Toyota Camry. As you are looking, you can see how that wood continues throughout the entire interior. It looks very nice. And I know you probably cannot tell on the camera, but the amount of space that is in the interior of this versus the Camry is very, very great. I feel I have much more room to stretch while sitting in here, and just the overall dashboard and everything feels much larger than the competitor, the Toyota Camry. We have a push button start. Simply press the brake. The button lit up as soon as I press the brake. We're going to go ahead and start it up. Let's go ahead and talk about the infotainment on this versus its competitors. We're going to stick with the main competitor being the Camry since it is its direct competitor. Right off the bat, I do prefer this over the Camry simply because we have a display on the left side that is interchangeable. I like how we can move whatever we want around there. We can show maps, we can show that type of stuff. From the factory, the tachometer isn't actually on there. You can go to the settings and put that on if you'd like. If you do want to show your tachometer over there, you just go ahead and go to Settings, System, the configuration of the instrument panel, and then right up here we can see our tachometer. As you can see here, we also do have a heads-up display, but it does only show the miles per hour. I am going to quick show you guys this. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come standard on this level and range of vehicles. That's where we can show our maps and stuff right up here and here. Another really cool thing is we can choose between USB 1 and USB 2 for the phone that shows up. So if we have a phone plugged into the USB here and a USB down there, we can choose which one we want to show up rather than the vehicle getting confused, like one saying you can't throw audio out of it and something like that. It's a really cool feature that Honda threw in there. Very smart thinking of them. I want to show you guys something else that's really cool. If you guys have been wondering what this little N is, that's for NFC. If you have an Android, you know what that is. That means if you put something on your phone, you can share files between other things by just simply pressing the backs of them together. So you'd put your phone right up to the back of this, and it would scan whatever you're trying to send it, such as you're trying to upload a song or something. Boom. Very, very standard climate control layout. Very easy to get used to. The higher trim model does have both heated and cooled ventilated seats up front. The Acura NSX Supercar has this exact same shifter inside of it. Pretty cool. This is a shift-by-wire system. You simply pull for reverse, tap for neutral, tap for drive, tap for park. You got some buttons down here, econ mode and sport mode. Here's another secret feature about this car. Yes, there's brake holding. If you don't know what that is, you just simply tap it. When the car comes to a complete stop, it'll hold until you press the gas pedal again, but something that's secret right above that. Here's the parking brake. Watch this. I'm going to engage it. I'm going to disengage it. Oh, I'm going to hold it up for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Disengage it. Engage it again. And disengage it. Now, that has set up this car so every time that we shut it off, like this, the parking brake will engage. This is the same motor that is in the Honda Civic Type R. It just doesn't have the same internals and a bit smaller turbo. So, kind of a cool thing to know. And this is the Earth Dreams VTEC Inline 4 Turbo. So you may be wondering, how do you get into the trunk when the battery dies? There's actually something really interesting to do so. So obviously you have to take the key out of the fob just like so. If it was the front door, you just stick it right in here. You'd have to come in here like this. You'd have to reach back here and open the back door like this. And once you're into the back door, you have to come over here. You have to go behind the trunk, take the key, use the key as a tool, push into this rear panel. And as you can see, once that panel is taken off, all right, let's get Todd up here and let's take this thing for a drive. I really want to see how it performs compared to its competitors.
So as the default setting, we're in eco or a comfort mode. Putting it in sport mode, it gives you a small change on the speedometer, tells you sport's on. We get some red accents.
Another thing I find really cool when you put it in sport mode, the tachometer, if you have that option on, will actually change into more aggressive fashion.
See how it does on some turns. Wow, very planted.
In the passenger seat, I'm feeling very little body roll.
There's very little movement out of the chassis, and that's what is kind of cool about the Accord in the new redesign that came out in 2018. Like, this is a sport-tuned car. It's not just a boring family hauler. Like, this is verging on being a true sport sedan. It can go around Virginia International Raceway in about 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Just to give you a little perspective, some vehicles that are in that same category is a lot of cars that people would consider fun or zippy. Things such as the Ford Focus ST or the Ford Mustang EcoBoost.
Todd, didn't you say that the chassis of this was not welded and was actually used a very strong adhesive?
So what is cool about the Accord, the new Accord, is the fact that they used an aluminum hood. There's a lot of aluminum suspension components, and they also used ultra high strength steel, which is lightweight, super strong. A lot of these materials you're finding in higher end cars, and it just kind of, as the car goes up in price, the more aluminum you're going to find in a lot of cars, or it's going to switch over to things such as carbon fiber. But yes, you are right, Austin. They used a lot of adhesive, ultra high strength steel instead of welding. So instead of the robots zipping around and welding, you know, they have a guy out there with a caulk gun laying down some adhesive. With that 4-cylinder, there's obviously a lot of changes that come with that, but it's really not from a performance standpoint. We have almost identical numbers, both 0 to 60 and quarter mile times, from the V6 that was in the 2017 and older Accords. And we also have very similar performance to, say, the V6 Camry. So the difference is kind of the driving aspect. We don't have that displacement. So we're relying more on that turbo, obviously, to get us up to speed, which can bring a little more engine whine, and it more or less makes it sound like that engine is working harder. With the 5.8 second 0 to 60 time, the 2.0 turbo Accord definitely is no slouch.
Now that we are checking out the Accord, let's go ahead and check out the competitors. I'm gonna go sit down on the computer and we'll stack these things up next to each other for prices.
Two other big differences with the Accord when it was redesigned in 2018 are, one, there's no longer a coupe. What you have here is what you get, the sedan. No more station wagons, no more hatchbacks, no more coupes. This is what you get when buying an Accord. The other difference, and which is absolutely awesome in my mind, is you can still get a manual transmission.
Real quick, let's check out the competitors of the Accord to see how this thing stacks up. All right, let's go ahead and take a peek. So the 2020 Accord starts at $24,000, and I went ahead and maxed one out. All the vehicles that I'm showing you here, I gave appearance packages. I didn't do any of the corny nets and everything to get the MSRP up there. I just did the packages that a higher premium buyer would be looking for. So I have the appearance package here, and we got this thing up to $40,994. On the Toyota Camry, we start at a base price of $24,425. I maxed this out at $40,612. I do think the Camry has a very nice look to it, but I do prefer the Accord's interior. Now to the Sonata. This is the big change in the game. I personally would pick this over any of the cars in its class because I think it has the most options, the best looks, the best interior. I really like the new Sonata. The base price is $22,600, the lowest in the entire class.
And then it also has a very nice maxed out price of $33,805. A really nice looking car that Hyundai came out with. Then we come on to the Ford Fusion. This is the first vehicle that we have an optional all-wheel drive system for. I personally think it has the worst interior and worst infotainment, though, in my opinion. The starting price of this is $23,170, and I maxed that out at $34,240 with front-wheel drive. I did not do any all-wheel drive stuff. We're going to come on to the Nissan Altima, starting out at $24,100, maxed out at $38,468. I don't think this is too special of a car in the competitor area. I do think the top three cars are going to be the Honda, the Toyota, and the Hyundai. Now on to my absolute least favorite car. That would be the Volkswagen. I'm not a fan of this thing. I'm really not. The Passat, I don't know. It's there, but I think it has the worst interior and the worst exterior in the whole class. I maxed this thing out at $32,809, and it starts at, oh, my apologies on that. We're going to be starting at $22,995. Todd, I think we just so happen to have a Camry XS EV6 behind us. Well, look at this. It's a Camry XS EV6.
So what I can tell you from driving the XS EV6 quite a bit is I do prefer the traction control system that is in the Accord. The Camry seems to like cut power off a lot more than the Accord. The Accord's doing a better job of just making sure the car has traction, is where the Camry is more kills power to make sure that traction's present.
Here's some really quick clips just to look in between the two competitors, the Honda and the Toyota. This Camry is not stock though, so keep that in mind. This has an air intake, an exhaust, and lowering springs. You can check those out on our channel if you'd like. This is the top trim line Camry, and that is the top trim line Accord.
The Accord has ultimately taken me by surprise today in a handful of areas. So the exterior, I'm not a massive fan of. There's definitely little bits and pieces that I like. I like the wheels. I like the headlights. I like it from certain angles, and then there's other angles where I'm not much of a fan of.
Yep.
But then you move to the inside and everything changes.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the interior, of the wood, of the feel, of the seats. I like everything about the inside. I don't really have anything negative to say. My biggest surprise today driving the Accord was in driving it.
Yeah.
The suspension feel was pretty darn awesome.
Yeah.
Like going through curves and taking it on a turny road, it kind of wowed me a little bit. Like I didn't feel like I was anywhere near the limits of the car.
Which is impressive.
It is. It's truly impressive. And then what do you think of the 4-cylinder turbo versus a V6 naturally aspirated?
I like from the outside, the turbo whistle is actually pretty loud.
Oh yeah?
I think that was kind of interesting about it. But it has a, and it's got a bland sound, and it does its job. But at those high RPMs, it seems like it starts pulling pretty hard for what it is.
And it totally took me by surprise. I wasn't really expecting much. Obviously, I knew what the numbers of the car were going into it, and it doesn't even feel as fast as it is. It's very subtle in all that it does, but it's doing everything very well.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's video. Please press like, hit subscribe. If you guys enjoyed that Camry that you saw, you can click right here to watch us lower it. You can click right here to watch our review on it, and you can click right up here to watch the exhaust that we put on it. And you can subscribe by hitting this circle right here. Have a nice day.